Hello, we are getting ready to start here. So thank you for tuning in. I just want to check, can you hear me? I have a mic. I'm hoping you can hear me. Let me know in the chat. Here, awesome. Can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up, a here, a yay. Yes, I can hear you. Real fast. How about now? Can you hear me now? I'm not getting anything from you. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And if you can't hear me, then I'm going to have to redo this whole recording. So if you want to comment, that would be great. Awesome. Okay. Well, hello and welcome. Whether you're catching this live or you're catching the replay, this is week 1 of my No BS Home Buyer Live series. I'm going to plan to go live every Tuesday in 2026 for about 15 minutes, and we are going to be walking through the home buying process each week, step by step, without the fluff or the pressure, and I'm going to really try to avoid the confusing jargon. So that's what this is all about. And oh, okay, I don't think you can hear me, and I don't think you can see me. Let me try this again. All right, let's see here. Okay, I think it's working. I think there's just a delay. So I'm going to keep going. So if you've ever thought I make decent money, but home ownership still feels a little out of reach, you are exactly who this series is for. You don't need to attend every week. Each week will stand on its own, but I would highly recommend that you do attend every week so you can follow along and build real momentum, because we're going to have action steps every week that will move you closer towards achieving your goal of home ownership. So I think before we really jump into the roadmap and our topic today, I just want to take a minute and let you know who I am and why I'm doing this, because I think context really does matter. I am a realtor, an investor, and an educator now, and I've been in real estate sales since 2018. Before that, my husband and we were flipping houses back in 2017. And since then, we've bought and sold and invested in quite a few different ways. I mean, we have done fix and flips, long-term rentals, short-term rentals, mid-term rentals, and we've even bought and sold some commercial property. So real estate is definitely kind of our thing. It's a little bit of a love-hate relationship, but it's definitely our thing. But I also want to be really clear that we aren't just investors, we are also homeowners. The house we live in now wasn't to make money, given we bought it with the idea that later it would appreciate and we would fix it up to build some equity. But I think that's kind of true for most houses. And we are total gluttons for punishment. And we did end up renting a room before our babies came. But now the babies are here. So it is just our family home. So we understand this position that you're in. And there was a time when we didn't really even consider home ownership. Felt a little bit out of reach, not because we were broke or anything. I mean, we were just out of college and it just didn't seem like something that was really like in the horizon. But what changed that future for us was who we were listening to and how we were thinking about the process. We came into it from the investing side of things and got way, way creative. And I don't recommend that for a lot of people. But now we have since changed that, and I now help a lot of people do it the normal way. But anyway, once we shifted our mindset and what we were listening to and the actions we were taking, we got more intentional and everything changed and we bought our home. So what makes me really passionate about educating buyers is I've seen over and over again that things that like owning a home kickstarts a lot of wealth for people. And some of the most richest people started with real estate. And just it starts this waterfall of good decisions. So I think it's just so important that people learn how to buy a home because you just see their life improve after that. So even though a home, in my opinion, is mostly just a forced savings plan, it really does encourage better financial habits, long-term thinking, and overall confidence. Plus, it gives you a safe foundation emotionally, financially. It's a place to call your own. If you've ever been a tenant and had crappy neighbors, you can really value that. So I'm doing this series because I talk to a lot of people who say, I really want to buy a home. I just don't know if I can. And then they have all these reasons why they don't think they can, but really, no one's just ever sat down with them to show them how they actually might be able to and steps to get there. And that's really all they need to make that happen. So this series isn't about selling you a house, it's about giving you directions, realistic expectations, and actual steps to get you there. So if homeownership is on your goal list for 2026, you can stay with me through the weeks and we can get you there confidently. So let's touch on the roadmap a little bit. The biggest thing I want you to understand tonight is that homeownership is not just one big leap. It is a series of small and boring, repeatable steps that will eventually get you there. So over this next year, we're going to touch on those steps every week for about 15 minutes. And we're going to walk through 5 phases of the homeownership journey. So that those phases are going to be the foundation, think mindset, getting your credit in check, getting your savings in check, financing, learning about loans, getting pre-approved, looking for red flags and different things from lenders. And we're going to talk about shopping, the actual finding the home, things to look for when you're shopping, things to recognize that you're comfortable with that, maybe others aren't. So just understanding that before you're shopping, and then buying, like offers, inspections, closings, appraisals, all the fun stuff. And your realtor should be helping you through all of that stuff. But I think it's so vital to have a good idea of what's going on so you are well informed when you do end up buying. And then lastly, we're going to touch on owning and building wealth. As an investor, I really want you to do well with your home because it will help you financially in the long term if you do it right. So we'll learn about equity and maintenance, how having your first home can help you move up into your next home, and what you can do with your home when you do eventually move up. So most people don't fail because they can't buy. They fail because they just don't have a plan and never get started. So we are not going to do that this year. So stay with me through these weeks and we'll get you there. So let's talk a little bit about goal setting. I want you to think about 2 things right now. Why do you want to own a home? And when do you realistically think that would happen? Or when would you realistically like it to happen? For a lot of people, there are so many reasons to want to own a home. It could be that it just makes you feel safe and comfortable. It could be that you had terrible neighbors and you want control over that. It could be you're growing a family and you want more space. There's so many reasons, and none of them are wrong, but it's good to have an idea of what that reason is for you. And then when we're talking timelines, I think a realistic timeline is like 6 to 9 months of actual prepping. And most of that is just saving up for a down payment, getting your credit in order. A lot of the financial things is really the preparation and learning what you're going to be doing. And then 3 to 4 months of shopping is pretty common. If you're really looking every day, maybe a month, and then you have a month to close. But all in all, home ownership is definitely doable within about a year if we're starting kind of from ground zero. If you're way ahead in the financial realm of things, then that timeline can be way shorter. But we're not rushing in this series. We are trying to be intentional. What this series is going to do is give you clarity, confidence, and different weekly action steps to get you to your goal. It's not going to be here to pressure you or shame you or push you into buying before you're ready. That's the exact opposite of what this education is for. I want you to feel confident, asking the right questions, being in the steps and understanding what's going on, because you'll be so much happier if you know what's going on at the end versus not knowing and then finding out you bought way too much house than you could afford and now you're in a financial pitfall. Like, no one is happy in that case. So we are focusing on education first and always. So for today, I created a 2026 home buyer roadmap tracker to go with tonight's live. So it's going to help you map out your goal, your timeline, and your next step. I will be able to send you a link to it. And I don't know if I can post it in here. I'm sure I can somehow. I'm new to this, so bear with me. But if you want it, just ask. But let me do a little sneak peek. We'll kind of go through it quick because we've got a little bit of extra time. But this is what you would get, your 2026 home ownership roadmap. It kind of goes over why you want to own a home, what we talked about a little bit earlier. Is it stability, more space? Are you trying to invest? Because that's awesome too. I'm happy to help there. What would change in your life if you owned a home? This is a framing question just to really get you to think about why you want to own a home and if you truly do, because not everyone needs to or wants to, and that's totally okay. And then what's your realistic home ownership timeline? Are you needing to move in the next 3 to 6 months? Do you have the whole year? Just really kind of try to think about that. And the next page will kind of give you a better idea where you are in that. So where are you starting from? On that checklist, there's quite a few different things. The more of those that you can check off, the closer you are to being able to buy a home. But I actually think the question, what is your biggest concern or fear about buying a home, can be really insightful for a realtor or just yourself. A lot of times people will say, I'm just afraid I'm going to buy a dud of a house and it's just going to be a money pit. And that is a fair concern. But I think if you think a little beyond that, you'll really truly find out what's been holding you back from taking the next steps. So then it leads you to the action you're going to take this month. And I would say this week, because there's going to be another action step next week. Of these, tracking your spending. If you've never tracked your spending and you're in the saving mode, this is a very important one. Track what you want to grow, and that would be the money in your savings account. So if you track what you're spending, you can eliminate different things. Start or grow a savings for a down payment. I would recommend you do that in a high yield savings account if you don't already have one going. And then book a buyer roadmap call. That would mean booking a call with me. If you are farther along in the financial steps and you're like, I'm not going to wait a whole year to get all of this information, this is probably the step you're at. Is give me a call and we'll do a more in-depth consultation if that is where you're at in this process. Pull your credit report. You can pull free credit reports from your credit cards. It's going to be a little bit different of a score than what you're going to get from the actual lender, and that's okay. It just gives you an idea of where you're at, but otherwise you can go to like Experian.com or any of the credit bureaus and get a free report once a year. And then lastly, learn about loan options. Again, if you're farther along in this checklist, this might be a good one for you. And if you need lender recommendations, I am happy to share, because they'll also pull your credit when you get your information, and then they can kind of give you an idea of where you're at financially as well. So if you're farther along, there's a couple better options here, but if you're just starting, start tracking your spending and start saving. Those are the big key ones. And then lastly on the page is, what did you complete did you complete the whole page? What did you learn? And what is your next step to get you going to your goal of buying a home? Awesome. Well, I am just short of 15 minutes. I think I'm about 13 minutes in. Obviously, I had a little time before the live started. But if you have any comments or questions, I am happy to take them, and I'm checking the chat right now. Will this video be available to watch later? Absolutely, it will. I have it recorded, so I will have, I don't know if it's going to be on my website yet, but I plan to have it somewhere very easily accessible. If you're not part of my Facebook page, it will definitely be available there. So reach out to me, and I'll either need your Facebook name or an email so I can send you an invite. But do you guys have any other questions? And I will give it I'll give it till 15 minutes. So if you guys have any other questions, please let me know. Okay, perfect. You are in the Facebook group already. So you will have access to the video there. And then I'm also going to try again. I'm still kind of working on my website. So I plan to have it kind of nicely listed with the resources and everything. So that way it's a lot easier to log in and check it out on your own time. So awesome. And if you have no additional questions, I'll give it about 30 more seconds. But I look forward to seeing you next week. We're going to break down some of the numbers a little bit more and touch on when it's actually a good possibility. So we're going to look a little bit more at the financials and kind of see realistic expectations on that. So that'll be a good one next week. And again, I hope you tune in every week and just short 15 minutes, quick and easy tasks, but hopefully will move you to your goal of buying a house in 2026, if that is your goal. But awesome. Well, thank you everyone for coming. And if there are no further questions, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream and we'll see you next week. All right. Bye-bye.